This is the most expensive iPhone Apple has ever built, and you might not even be able to buy the cheap one. The iPhone 18 Pro is launching next month, September 9th, give or take a day, and there's something about this year's release that Apple has never done before. They're splitting the lineup. Pro models in September, everything else not until spring, and there's one cost detail that every preview is glossing over that I think changes the entire buying decision. We'll get to that. So here's the full picture. The iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max should launch next month. Same 6.3 and 6.9 inch displays with a smaller dynamic island, 5G via satellite, and more. Apple's first 2 nanometer chip is inside with performance and efficiency improvements, and they're sharing the stage with a foldable iPhone that's going to steal all the headlines. But I've spent weeks going through every leak, every supply chain report, every analyst estimate, and I landed on a take that's pretty different from the hype, especially about who should actually buy this and who's better off waiting. Let's start with the A20 Pro. This is the headline upgrade. It's built on TSMC's N2 process, the world's first mass production implementation of gate all-around nanosheet transistors. Sounds impressive, and it is. The A20 Pro is expected to offer a performance boost of between 10 and 15% relative to the current iPhone 17 range, but here's where it gets uncomfortable. The A20 chip could be much more expensive than prior A series chips because of the 2 nanometer technology. TSMC has told Apple that 2 nanometer chip pricing will be at least 50% higher than 3 nanometer processors. One supply chain rumor says the A20 Pro may cost as much as $280 per unit, approximately 80% more than the previous generation. Now, that cost has to go somewhere. Analyst Jeff Pugh said the iPhone 18 Pro might cost users $250 to $300 more than the iPhone 17 Pro. That's not a spec bump, that's a tier jump. And the thing is, 10 to 15% faster on a phone that was already faster than anything you throw at it. Most people will never feel that difference. The chip matters, but maybe not for the reason Apple wants you to think. Okay, the camera. This is the part I actually care about. The main 48 megapixel Fusion camera on both iPhone 18 Pro models is rumored to have a variable aperture, which lets you control the amount of light that passes through the lens and reaches the sensor. This gives you greater control over depth of field. For context, variable aperture is something only a few Android phones have ever tried. Current iPhones offer an approximation of aperture control by adjusting shutter speed and processing the image with software, but a true variable aperture allows much more flexibility in light intake and depth of field. This is the real pro feature, not the chip speed, not the modem. If you shoot photos seriously and even casually seriously, this is the one upgrade that changes what the camera can do, not just how fast it does it. It's like the difference between a fixed gear bike and one with actual gears. Sure, you could ride both to the store, but one of them lets you handle hills. Now, the connectivity story. The iPhone 18 Pro will be paired with Apple's new C2 modem, which marks the first time a Pro iPhone will use an Apple-designed cellular chip, and it's expected to bring 5G connectivity over satellite. Read that again, 5G via satellite. Apple plans to add support for 5G networks that operate via satellites rather than Earth-based towers, which would allow future iPhones to gain full internet connectivity through satellite, not just limited emergency features. That's browsing, messaging, maybe even streaming in the middle of nowhere if you camp, hike, travel internationally, or just live somewhere with spotty coverage. This is quietly the biggest feature on the list. And the battery to support all of this, Chinese regulatory filings list the iPhone 18 Pro Max at 5,567 milliamp hours, a jump of nearly 500 milliamp hours over the iPhone 17 Pro Max. The displays will reportedly use LTPO plus display technology, which should contribute to longer battery life, bigger battery, more efficient chip, more efficient display. The math on battery life this year could be genuinely meaningful. Not 15 more minutes meaningful, more like leave the charger at home meaningful. Design-wise, let's be honest, the iPhone 18 Pro models are expected to feature the same general design as the iPhone 17 Pro models. You're not getting a visual revolution. That's reportedly being saved for next year's 20th anniversary iPhone models. But there are two things worth noticing. Apple plans to shrink the dynamic island so it takes up less space. The front camera lives in the top left corner with the dynamic island shifted along with it because Face ID sensors are reportedly moving under the display. And then there's the color. The special color for the iPhone 18 Pro models will reportedly be dark cherry alongside light blue, dark gray, and silver. The shade is described as more of a dark cherry with a tinge of purple, rather than a brighter red. It's a deep wine-like burgundy. Think expensive leather, not sports car red. And honestly, that might be the reason some people upgrade. I'm not judging. A color has sold phones before, it'll sell phones again. Okay, so here's the thing. Nobody is talking about enough. Apple is adopting a two-phase rollout starting with the iPhone 18 series. The Pro, Pro Max, and foldable iPhone Ultra release in September 2026. The iPhone 18, iPhone Air 2, and iPhone 18 spring 2027. That means if you want a new iPhone this fall, your cheapest option is the Pro. Customers who want to upgrade during the standard fall timeline will need to opt for one of the more expensive models. Those who want a better deal have to wait. And this is also the first major product launch under a new CEO. Apple announced its transition plan with John Ternus stepping into Tim Cook's CEO position effective September 1st, 2026. Ternus spent 25 years at Apple overseeing hardware engineering for every major product, and his appointment marked a shift toward a leader with roots in product development, a hardware engineer running Apple, launching a product line that only includes pro-level hardware. That's not a coincidence. That's a statement. So, should you buy the iPhone 18 Pro? If you're on an iPhone 15 or older, yes, without question. The 2-nanometer chip, the variable aperture camera, satellite 5G, the battery gains, that's 3 generations of upgrades hitting you all at once. If you're on an iPhone 17 Pro, honestly, wait, 10 to 15% faster, and a new color isn't worth $1,100 or potentially more. And if you were waiting for the standard iPhone 18, you're waiting until spring. Apple just told you your budget phone isn't a priority. The iPhone 18 Pro is a genuinely great phone being launched at potentially the worst possible price point. And that tension between how good it is and how much it costs is the real story this September. I'm curious, does the price change your plan? Or is the dark cherry enough to get your wallet out? Let me know.